Hey yo, you remember in the first Insidious where the dad was like possessed by a ghost or a demon or something? Yikes. Well, add that with like Girls Gone Wild, you get this movie here, and we're gonna go over it in the next trap recap with Chelsea, Kelsey, Sissy, Chrissy, and Missy. So we dive into the girls just getting to their Airbnb somewhere in Mexico. So they head out to the bar and they had taken freaky shots. They're playing drinking games. Even one rando gets a great story to tell his friends back home. Oh yeah, it's lit. They're turned up to the max. They get approached by a couple of Texas boys named Nate and Buck. They spit their best game and they start taking more shots than the dead homie on try. Yo, so it gets turned up to the max and Nate tries to spit his best game. He moves in. She's like, sorry, I'm kind of like approved. He's like, for real, you ain't even on Tinder? She's like, nope, ski. So try your luck somewhere else. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get you, girl. Meanwhile, in the same place, Buck and Christy are actually hitting it off. They're getting to know each other better, and you can definitely see that there is some attraction and should be a reaction. Missy, the bride-to-be, comes over and gives her blessing for them to smash. Then she gives that same look my girl gives when she want it, but she don't want to say it, you dig? So he gives her the shovel and she buries it. Then wakes up in the morning, her girls are kind of pissed, wondering where she is. And they say since she's not there, they're gonna take off with some rando tourist guides and they're out. During the trip, she's saying how much of a shithole this place is, and Missy wants to go back to the beach, but they say they got something good in store. So, and while all this is going down, Missy and Buck are just having a great time enjoying life. Out of nowhere, Flacco stops and says, all of you house need to get out the car right now. They pop out, Missy gets tackled, Chelsea tries to dash and gets shot, and then Flacco runs her down. Sissy and Kelsey try to frantically call back to Chrissy, who's chilling. They're telling her that they're being kidnapped and they see a one sole palm tree in the middle of the desert and to send help. So she immediately tries to call Policia, but Policia hang up on her. Flacco tells the girls that they ain't looking to rape, they're looking for cake and to give up all their paper. So they pat them down, run their jewels, and then they hop back in the van so they can boogie. So the girls are left out in the hot sun, and they come up with a great plan to leave the road and head off into the distance. It's brilliant. Buck and Chelsea can't speak Spanish, so they go and get Nate. They tell him the rundown about the girls being missing and say they need his help. So the girls find themselves at a old abandoned resort with plenty of palm trees, and they're walking up. They find a building and they go inside. They knock, but since nobody answers, they go inside. Then they start arguing over what to do. They say they don't want to be there by nighttime. Nighttime comes. They're still arguing and they're becoming more aggressive and just blaming each other for everything that has gone wrong. They decide to go find food and supplies. And while they're doing that, something takes hold and Missy attacks Kelsey for no reason at all. Kelsey gets shook and she bounces out of the room. She's like, you a... So in the other room, Sissy's trying to be positive, but something's taking hold of Chelsea. She's saying, yo, why you acting like this? You always been the straight slut of the group, and you expect me to listen to you right now? I'm out. So Sissy finds herself in the kitchen with some big ass pomegranates, and she finds herself attracted to them. Kelsey starts trying to limp around, and she enters a room where she sees Chelsea laying on the bed taking care of business. You feel me? So Sissy just starts devouring his food like a runaway slave, being all erotic. She's getting off on it. And then Missy is tweaking. Kelsey finds her in the kitchen. It's like, yo, what the fuck is you doing? And for her troubles, she ends up getting shanked. The other crew is back at the bar, all depressed. They trying to figure it out. But bro's like, yo, why don't you get us some nachos? That'll help. When they go up to the bar, they start asking the bartender if he'd seen some girls, shows him the pictures, but he has not. The two guys at the end of the bar, who turned out to be Flacco and his carnal, start asking what they're looking for. So Chrissy tells them about her friends, then asks if they have seen them. They say they haven't, but then she asks about a palm tree in the middle of the desert. He's like, I could take you out there, but not tonight, for some money though. And she's like, okay, we can do that. And he tells his friend that we gonna do them the same way. So in the morning, they hit the same road, doing the same thing. And while they're in there, Flacco starts speaking in Spanish to his carnal about how the policia is not helping them with the search, and we're gonna do the same thing. So he shoots a text to Buck and tells him to skit. Then they attack the two. They shoot Carnal, and Flacco makes it out of the car. He's shot as well. They say, you gonna take us to our friends. You're gonna take us to that old resort. Chrissy finds the homegirl's flask and then confronts them. It's like, yeah, you did know them. And you're gonna take us there now. He pleads for them not to go there because it's haunted, but they go anyways. They pull up to the resort with a ceiling missing, and he begs them not to go in, but they said they're going in anyways. They pull him out. He says that he ain't gonna go. He'd rather die right now. So they just tie him up in the van. They proceed to find their friends. They go to the back and they just start yelling their names, which is stupid. But essentially, their friend was right there. And she said that she could take them to the rest of the girls, but they definitely shouldn't leave, that this place is wonderful. And Chrissy's like, yo, you bugging. But they follow her anyways. As they walk, she's talking about some dumb shit and leads them to a room where they find Chelsea, buck naked. They wrap her up, and she's saying how she's actually enjoying herself, even though she looks like she's in pain. And then Nate notices that homegirl dipped. So they're gonna split up, and Nate's gonna stay with Chelsea, and Buck tells him to keep his dick in his pants. Then we see Flacco being confronted by somebody. While Nate's looking out the window, Chelsea comes up behind him and starts licking him like a lollipop. And he loses focus. So Chrissy and Buck hit the kitchen and find Sissy eating Kelsey, like dead ass out of her guts. And she's like, join me in the feast. They're like, girl, you tripping. Buck tries to buck her, and Sissy jumps on top of Chrissy. Buck starts giving her the rear naked chokehold and then throws her in. There's no lock on the door, so they're trying to hold it, but they turn around to Missy standing there with a human heart in her hand, and they're trying to convince her to stop, but she's saying she's having way too much fun and that all they need to do is just join her. On Tribe, she remind me of my ex. Bucks tells Chrissy to run back to the van, and she looks at the van, but then she runs in the opposite direction. So Buck tries to grab the knife, but he ends up getting shanked. Chrissy runs back to check on the others, and when she gets there, she sees them having sex, right? But then she also sees that Nate is dead. She asks her why she did it, and she replies, because it feels good. Why not? There's no one here to stop us. And she gets up all in her face, and out of nowhere, she ends up getting shanked up by Missy, and then she stabs Chrissy, but Chrissy's somehow able to get away. And then she runs into this chick she don't know, and that is the actual demon that possesses this place. She runs back and she sees that she left Buck to get bucked up. She's sad, but she looks up and the demon chick is there again, just saying that you only got one friend left. You know what you need to do. Trust me, it'll feel good. She runs up out of there, finally deciding to go to the van, and runs into her again like, yo, it's cool. You don't need to worry about it. And then she is ready for this last standoff, gun versus knife. The tale as old as time. She tries to stop Missy from going crazy, but she can't. She's too far gone and ends up having to buck her. While she's laying there, Missy comes to and wants to know what's going on. Chrissy runs over to her. She says that it's going to be okay. Missy wants to go home. Chrissy says she's going to send her there, grabs the sticker, and gives her a picker. And you can tell that demon has possessed her now because it feels so good. And that's the end of the movie. Submachine music. Ha!